It was tough for them in that second half. Is that partly to be expected, given the youngsters in their lineup in that second half?
Yeah, I think once that sort of momentum changes slightly, obviously Trent going off and McAllister a little bit later on, Joe Gomez as well. And then it is a big ask. I think at 2-0 it looked as though it was very comfortable and felt as though Liverpool were going to really stroll to an easy win. But once that tide turns, and it's a great experience for those younger players to have to deal with that, different dynamic in the game. And I think overall, although they made hard work of it, they'd be really pleased to come away with that win.
There's also a lot of credit that has to be given to Southampton, even in defeat, given recent events.
Without a doubt, and I think, although they've lost this evening, I think that second half performance will give them really good spirit going into the weekend's game. Fulham away, I believe, which I think, the way that they defended tonight, there was a few moments where you thought they're puffing their chest. A few of the players were sort of getting the fans sort of G'd up a little bit. Those sorts of moments can't be underestimated. And like I said, although they lost, I think they can take a lot forward and a lot of belief. And there were some good performances, albeit Liverpool's side was significantly weakened. But they still had to play what was in front of them.
Yeah, as Izzy says, that second half, the chests were puffed out defending and they did put their bodies on the line. There were still those errors in the first half that certainly led to the first goal in particular. Yeah,
again, listen, I think when you look at what's happened recently, it would have been very easy for them to go under. And this was a little bit indicative of what has been happening at Southampton. And again, there, Bednarek has to get a better contact on the ball. Alex McCarthy then slips as well, which makes it a simpler finish in the end for Nunez.
Yeah, and Nunez does well. He makes the run first and foremost. Debatable, is he onside, offside? It's tight. There's no VAR, of course, like you mentioned at half-time. But this situation here, I don't think Nunez's first touch is brilliant. And I think he's lucky the way that it falls to him. But he's got the endeavour. He takes this touch here, almost goes away from him. But I think because McCarthy slipped here, as he's getting up, it gives Nunez the time to actually then get on the end of that touch.
We can see that slip just there.
Yeah, it's pivotal in that moment because Nunez is coming at him centrally and McCarthy's central. There's actually less of the goal for Nunez to aim at, but it gives him that slight angle, Nunez, to provide the finish in the bottom.
Do you give Nunez some credit there? I know you're not a big fan of the first touch, but bearing in mind there is a school of thought that he's a much better finisher when he doesn't have time to think about it, and he was clean through there.
Yeah, I certainly think so, and I think his first touch actually takes it away from him. You'd expect most forwards in the Premier League to take a cleaner first touch at this point. I'm being really, really picky here. He smashed the ball into the back of the net, which is the most important thing.
But he isn't going to miss that. Listen, he's needed a goal and his finishing hasn't been great this season. But if you want an opportunity to get yourself going, that is exactly it. Yeah.
He needed it.
And the second goal, I mean, the build-up is great here.
It is, and it's all about Harvey Elliott's movement for me. McAllister, his midfield partner, drifts wide. He's bottom of the screen. And Harvey Elliott just takes a sort of central number 10 position, but it's his movement, we'll probably see it on the second angle. Finish is excellent, takes a small deflection off Manning, but you can just watch here, highlighted in the top of the screen. He goes into the space to then step out of the space, which actually gives him that half a yard to then go and take the first touch and fire across Alex McCarthy, but you can see it here even better. Defenders are in a bit of a twist, they don't know how to mark him, and the way that his movement, first touch with his left foot, right foot finish.
That's the key for me in terms of putting the ball exactly where you want to have it to get that next touch, which is going to be your finish, albeit on his right side. But the way he just cushions it, takes the weight out of the ball, but puts it in front of him, yes, gets a deflection on the way through, but a really lovely finish.
When you look at Southampton, so many times this season, and I know they've been criticised defensively, but you look at their possession stats or chances created stats, they're not in the bottom half of the Premier League. They're top half, but they can't score. Now, if Cameron Archer could do this a little bit more in the Premier League, then who knows? Yeah,
listen, it's a brilliant, first of all, intent to go and be positive and get himself, the minute he cuts onto that right foot, again, for those of us who've seen him in the Championship, it's what he has done, and he's so sharp. And again, for me here, there's only one thing on his mind, which is what I really loved. Brilliant finish from that angle. Liverpool defending has to be better, though.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to cover that inside space. You can see from his body language, he checks here onto his right foot. It's Morton who's covering, and I think he just over-covers a little bit and gives Cameron Archer the chance to sort of shape that, and what a finish.
And then 3 minutes later, he had another chance which brought a good save from Kevin Kelleher.
Yeah, fantastic reaction save. And just felt like the whole mood at St Mary's had changed. I think Southampton players felt certainly a lot more belief than they had done in the rest of the game. They had a really good period, and unlucky there, obviously, with that first one. This one's a great block there. Fantastic defending to make sure he gets across. And there was a real time in that game where you did feel that Southampton were going to get themselves back in it and draw themselves level. But
this is a great save. In a
reaction.
ballpark of Emi Martinez saves, by the way, off the back of the weekend. That's average. No, I'm really joking.
I was wondering where you're going
brilliant.
with that.
That's brilliant. That's a brilliant instinctive save, and I don't think there was any more that Archer could have done. I think he's really clever with the way he
Most saves look average compared to the Emi Martinez one at the weekend. Southampton do, I would imagine, we haven't heard from them yet, feel aggrieved at this. It probably wasn't a penalty.
It's a foul. Absolutely.
And a free kick and a red card.
Yeah, I mean, the minute Quansah allows this ball to bounce, he's banging trouble. You know, Fernandez is getting the other side of him. And at first, from behind, you may feel the ball's not going to go all the way, it's going to bounce through to Kelleher. But when you look at it from the other angle, I think that's the thing that, for me, will see it better here. Look, Quansah's got to get to the pitch of the ball and just get something on it. Doesn't. Now he's all over Fernandez, drags him down. Look where that ball stops there. Kelleher's not going to get there. Fernandez would be the one getting onto that, and for me, it's a really poor decision.
Yeah, it's the wrong decision. Should have been sent off, and it wasn't a penalty. But I really like the run from Fernandez, the endeavour, and I think that's what we're talking about with Southampton. That kind of desire in the last minute to try and get back in the game. They can definitely take that through into the.
Well, that's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, okay, this is how we've done it, albeit against a slightly changed Liverpool side, but to harness some of that fight and desire, which most definitely wasn't there on Sunday when they were beaten by Tottenham.
No, it wasn't. But then I go back to the point they got against Brighton in the Premier League a few weeks ago, and I thought the aggression was at its best I've seen from Southampton this season. They got a point from it, but I wouldn't say they were like at those levels of aggression tonight. But I think the endeavour and you could sort of feel it from the players in terms of they wanted it. They really wanted to improve, and they took a lot of pride. Howard Bellis, celebrating clearances off the line. I think that sort of mentality is what they need to harness moving forward.
How do you assess it?
Just like that, really. They caused us a fair few problems. I think we came into this game, obviously, especially with the circumstances that Southampton are going through. They knew they were going to come out fighting, and we had to be ready for that. And I feel like for a team, that we put out there today, some of us haven't played much this season. We had really young lads as well, and I think we fought as a team, and thankfully we can come away with the win.
Tyler was one of those young lads in the team as well. You must have been really pleased with the way the team started there and got control early on.
Yeah, definitely. I think it was a tough test for us. A lot of the young lads coming in, Shape making his debut. It was lovely for everyone. So obviously it's tough. It's tough staying ready and staying ready to play. But I think everyone that played today was ready, and I think the gaffer chose a different side, and it was tough for us at the start. And I think we gained control very early on, which gave us a lot of confidence, and especially myself. So. Yeah.
Absolutely, and those two goals that you got early on seemed to put you in a really good place, Harvey. Were you surprised at the way Southampton did come back at you?
I wouldn't say surprised, to be honest, because if you look at the Premier League game, they cause us problems as well. Southampton are a side full of confidence, and they're not scared to play out from the back and take risks, and it's credit to them. They caused us, as I said, problems today, and they have done before. But it was just about how we could deal with them problems as a team and the pressure that they were putting on. Making sure we stand strong and defend as well as we can. And despite conceding one goal, I felt like we've done that very well.
Tyler, is that part of the learning process when you get put under so much pressure like that? Is it something you can really take something from?
Yeah, definitely. I think playing at this club with these fans, it gives you so much confidence, and especially even when you're down, you feel like you're going to come back in the game straight away because of the energy that they give us and the energy that we all have as a team, and it was a good fight from us, and I think right to the end, people playing different positions, so it was tough for us, but it was really good for us, and we're very thankful to the fans for the energy they give us.
Well done. You through to the last four, but it's Harvey who gets the Carabao Cup Player of the Match. Will you do the honours, Tyler?
Well, of course we will.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
We'll, of course, get reaction from St Mary's on what was, fellas, quite hard work, wasn't it? We were a bit tense towards the end there, Jason.
I think you're right, and breathe, I think, is the right phrase. I think after giving ourselves a really good platform at 2-0 and being in control of the ball and the game, dictating the tempo, they made a lot more hard work of it in the second half. give credit to Southampton.
Yeah.
They had a go, and I don't think the changes really helped Liverpool. I think they become very much disjointed, give away possession far too easily. Players were moving around positions, which is always... You've always got to be careful of that, I think, when you make so many changes. I think they've done all right with so many changes in the first half, but then the subs came on, different positions, they just lost their way, and then they got away with it. They got away with it by the skin of the teeth.
They did, with some perhaps officiating that maybe for a change went in Liverpool's favour towards the end. We'll get to that. But I think goals change games, don't they, Neil? And that goal for Southampton, it didn't half inject life into them and the fans.
Yeah, I mean, we've been in that situation 2-0. It felt comfortable. Liverpool were by far the better side. You just knew that if they were to get the next goal, the crowd would get back involved, the players would start to get up for it, and they'd have a go. And they did. You know, they came from nowhere, the goal that got them back into the game. And all of a sudden, the fans who've been absolutely so frustrated, so down all season, they thought, OK, we're having a go. Yeah. You know, I've actually enjoyed watching Southampton tonight. The goalkeeper's kicking it long, they're cheering that, rather than trying to play out from the back. So there was a bit of a reaction in that sense. Yeah. And they got involved, they had a game, they made it difficult for us. A couple of nervy moments. I think Kelleher deserves a mention on sort of the hour mark. It's 2-1, makes a big save. A minute later, Kwanzaa makes a big block. Yeah. If it goes 2-2 then, you start thinking, could maybe Southampton have gone on and won it? Didn't create a lot second half. Think of Chiesa's big chance. Yeah. That would have put the game to bed. But they always stayed in the game, Southampton. You're thinking they might get one more moment. And it came late on, that sort of 92nd, 93rd minute, when VAR would probably still be looking at it now, because we've got used to that. Thankfully, no VAR, which helped the game. Yeah. But it could have had a big part to play in that incident.
I mean, you played a number of positions. I don't know how often they switch you around within games from midfield to full-back or whatever it might have been, but obviously in Tyler Morton's case, that's what happened tonight. Endo started at centre-half and played some of the time in the middle of the park. Is that difficult for players within the 90 minutes?
If it's not your most natural position, I mean, Trent, you look at Trent, he started off as a centre midfielder, went to the right, so when he drifts into that midfield area, he feels comfortable. I was the same, you know, I played in midfield for Bolton, came to Liverpool, played right back, more of a wing-back position, but then got comfortable with that, so if I had to go into midfield, it always felt comfortable. I don't think Tyler's plays right back, I don't think he's ever played it in the sense of that's his position, and he's made it his own. He's a centre midfielder, so to go out on that right-hand side was obviously alien to him, and I think he struggled a little bit, and plus Chiesa on the right-hand side, it took him, you know, a large part of that second half to actually implement or put himself about in the game. It was only the last 10 minutes he kind of came alive, and he struggled really, which is understandable. He's been out for a while, and you know, just to touch on your point, the second half, I think it come a bit of a shock for Liverpool that Southampton went against their philosophy. Really, it made it more physical, and I don't know whether the referee, the manager Rusk has made a point of that at half-time by saying to his players, listen, they've got a few kids on the pitch, let's win them second ball, they're in a game, let's be a little bit physical with them, let's leave a little bit on them, we might get a bit of a just reward for it, and they did, and you know, it was a long 45 minutes or 50 minutes, that second half, wasn't it? There'll be players for Liverpool coming off knowing they've been in a battle there.
Yeah, I imagine though, as long as you come out on the right side of it, it's a good feeling, isn't it? It's a relief, but it's also like, okay, we've got through that storm.
I think the massive positive is we've got through, and you think about the key players who've not been involved tonight. You know, you look at goalkeeper Alisson not played tonight, Van Dijk's not played, Salah's not played, Diaz hasn't played, so there's going to be a little bit of freshness out of a big game at the weekend. So the lads have done great, and it's difficult because some of the lads who've played tonight, they haven't got that rhythm, they haven't got that sort of the consistency in the performance, so it's harder to get going, and they did extremely well to get through. It's never going to be easy, even at 2-0 you're thinking there's going to be some kind of a reaction.
You felt he needed another one, just because. You know,
well, and also there was a lot of oddities tonight, weren't there? First time the manager's not been on the touchline to try and organise. He's got his assistants, but he's up in the stands. Lots of players either starting their first game in Harvey Elliott's case, looking for a change in one of the two players playing in different positions. Chiesa coming back. There was a lot of new things or changes tonight from what Liverpool have got into the groove of doing.
Yeah, and you know, for as much as you're on the training ground, you know, not playing football matches, which a lot of these players don't in that first team, it's very difficult to understand the strategy, the philosophy, the tempo, the fluidity of the way they play. I mean, you look at the first team now, I mentioned it before, he's very consistent with that first team selection, and they've all got up to speed quite quick, and at times they play some really nice stuff, and you can see exactly how the manager wants to play. But tonight, you know, it was 11 players that were basically thrown in together to say, right, let's have a look here and let's see how we play. And at times in the first half, it just looked like we were watching the first team. It was patient, they were picking the opportunities opportunities to go long.
was tough for them
They were
in
right
that
at
second
it,
half.
and they,
Is
like I
that
said, they got their
partly
reward
to
with
be
2 really good
expected,
goals. But
given
then second
the
half, they
youngsters
just
in
lose their way a
their
little bit,
line?
and like I mentioned,
Yeah,
I think that's
once
partly
that
down to
sort of
Southampton
momentum
changing their
changes
tactics a little bit,
slightly,
being a bit more
obviously,
physical.
going off and
But
McAllister
you know,
a little
Liverpool
bit
with a
later
lot
on,
of new players
Joe
and
Gomez
subs
as well.
coming on, it kind of was a
And then it is
disjointed
a
second
big
half.